Alrighty, day one, scene one of SSM. Let's go. How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harry and I'm about to start my third year of graduate medicine in a couple of weeks' time. We are still in the summer and today actually is, let's see how well we can see this. It's the 25th of July and I am just about to embark on the journey of my SSM, my special study module, which is something that is an early part of my third year, and we are allocated a few weeks to do this towards the end of our summer break. Okay, so I've just pulled up my proposal. So back in April time of second year, we had to submit a proposal for what we wanted to do. But let me just read through this really quickly so you can get an idea of my rough thoughts of what we plan to do. So I plan to make a model of a patient lying in a hospital bed. It will be divided down the middle with a border of some sort, splitting the patient in two. One side will demonstrate a patient that has died of natural causes. The other side will be the patient still alive on multiple machines, like ventilators, dialysis and things like that. The model will look to highlight the increasingly blurred lines in modern medicine created by advancing medical technologies and the difficult ethical dilemmas they bring with them. I'm not exactly sure of all the materials I will require to make this, but likely to include some woodwork for the base and possibly the hospital bed, paint and maybe paper mache for the human model. These materials are subject to change given that I'm quite inexperienced with making this kind of model, so I'm not yet sure the materials will end up working best, or that will end up working best. Finally, I have a YouTube channel that I would like to create a video that follows this creative journey. I will take a few photos as I go along as well, but the video will serve as a supplementary deep dive into the making of the model and meaning behind it. So that was my proposal that I gave back in April, and I maintain that I'm really excited to try and achieve as close to this idea as I can within my artistic capacity. But I really wanted to vlog it because I think it should be a really interesting journey, and I already have an exciting delivery, so let me go and get that right now. As you can see, I have got some tools and a huge 12.5 kg bag of clay. I ordered this a few days ago on Amazon and I really wasn't sure dimensions wise how big my model would be, but it was very hard to find smaller quantities of clay that would be enough as well. I definitely didn't want to run out. If anything in excess is fine. The caveat, by the way, with this big bag is to say that I realized paper mache was an option, but we are limited in the size that a model can be, and I believe that it is 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters. So I felt that, yes, although I could do paper mache, I think it was easier to do clay for that size, a slightly smaller model. I don't know if that's the case. Again, I'm very beginner when it comes to art, so I was just kind of doing what I felt would be best. While I'm watching these videos, I just want to point out, here's one video I've come across about molding a face, because I'm obviously trying to see, can I mold different parts in particular ways? If I can get a face to look anything like that, I will be very, very happy. The other thing I'm realizing, we're already coming into artistic challenges where there seems to be a lot of different videos using slightly different clays, like some are oil based that don't really dry and some that do. So I'm also interested to see, once I have an idea as how to mold it, if my clay is as kind of easy to mold as some of these look like they are, or these people are just very good molding clay and they make it look easy. I'm not really sure. But so during my research on making clay models, I saw that you needed to make an armature, and this is something that you will then build the model around. I chose to use this flexible wire. It's not as sturdy as some other videos that I saw where they used kind of hangers or certain metal to have a sturdier armature. But nonetheless, it was actually easy to model and make the armature for the human body. Okay, so I've done some measurements. I've got a rough sort of human looking thing. I've got an idea of what I want it to look like and I'm reasonably happy with that. The only thing I'm quickly realizing is that because this is a slightly flimsier, it's good and it's flexible, but because it's maybe not quite as strong as some of the metal wires that I've seen used, I think I've realized what I want to do with the whole thing is double back on it like this, so wrap it round just to reinforce the skeleton. Right, after a lot of twisting, we have gone from our single layer model that was quite flimsy to the reinforced twisty man. Look at that model. Very happy with that, I think. Once the armature was made, the wire armature, I did some measurements to make sure I was happy with the proportions of the limbs, torso, etc. The next part of this involved using aluminium foil to wrap the armature to bulk it out a bit. The idea being that when you're making clay, if the clay is too thick, then from what I saw, you can get more cracking because the outer layers will dry quicker than the inside. And so the armature helps to avoid that. It's also a good base so that you can kind of hold shape of the human body when you wrap the clay around it. Otherwise, it might just fall flat on the board, or in my case, the hospital bed that the patient will lie on. Welcome to another day of SSM. This is where we left the model last time. So this is the armature. I put all the layers of tinfoil that I think I'm going to put on, and now we're going to kind of begin with clay. Basically my plan is to go from the feet up because I might put almost like a cover on the patient while they're lying in the hospital bed, so their legs may not show, but it's a good opportunity to start from the legs up to get used to modelling, etc. And then hopefully by the time we get here, I'm an expert and the face will be perfect. While modeling the clay, I wanted to have a reference, so I pulled up this picture from Google that I just sat in front of me while I was modeling, just in case I wanted to refer to something to have an idea to make sure that my proportions were in check. Then I started with the foot and I worked my way up, mainly because I knew that my model would possibly be covered on the bottom half because it would be in a hospital bed with some covers on it, and therefore if there were any mistakes made or as I was getting used to modeling with the clay, at least I would be used to things by the time I got up to the torso. So with that in mind, I chose to work from the bottom up. I'm trying to get some latissimus dorsi going here. Actually gonna have to lay him down just to see how we're doing. I've left the clay dry for a little bit now. Basically, I've had some cracks that have developed, but it should be okay. My biggest worry is transferring the human body onto the final platform that it rests on, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm just going to have a look at the dried model now today and then try and get it painted. I gave it a few days for the clay to dry. During that process, I tried to cover over as many cracks as possible, but some were unavoidable. The next step was to buy some paints, so I got some primary colours, some paint brushes, and you can see me showing you there some styrofoam I got from the garage that I was going to use for the hospital bed.
The next task was to take these primary colours and to mix them to get the kind of colours I was looking for, which is a lifelike human on one side and a dead blue-like colour on the other. My sister is a lot more artistic than I am, so after some brief discussion we agreed on 2 ideal colours.
So I haven't been speaking too much during this process, but as you can see, a lot going on here at the moment. I've got this kind of light blue. I was mixing the colours there for about probably 25 minutes, trying to get a colour that I feel was right for the person that's dead versus the person that's alive. And then I've kind of just eventually gotten this kind of nice light blue that I feel is a good colour, because I did want there to be clear contrast.
The next step was to start thinking about other things surrounding the patient. So we had the paint done, and now I was looking at the covers for the bottom half of the patient. I was also looking at the pillow and the bed itself. So for the bed, you can see I've cut the styrofoam in 2, and now I will paint those just a matte white to give it a more sheen look, because there were some areas of kind of browning, etc., because it had been sat in the garage. As far as the pillow and covers were concerned, I used an old tea towel and some tissues to go inside the pillow just to bulk it up a bit. The next step was to make railings for the hospital bed. My mum is an avid gardener, and so I took some pegs that she used for plants and painted them grey to stick on the edges.
Only other thing I'm going to do tonight is I've taken a random biscuit box. Look, I keep coming up with random stuff and I will continue to do so. So here we are. But my plan with this, as I said to you, I was going to use a cereal box. But I just took the first piece of cardboard that's reasonably thin, so it will I won't need too much paint. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it white, and then these are going to get stuck on to the side of the bed tomorrow as well. So I'm only going to paint these white, so I'm going to let all the things that are painted dry overnight, wake up in the morning, attach them all to the bed, and then we will pretty much be there.
I wanted to have a base for the hospital bed to sit on so that we could also put the machines beside the patient and have a hospital curtain that really sets the scene of the whole model. To do this, I cut 2 planks of wood and drilled a hole in one of them, inserted a bent hanger, and was able to put kitchen roll around it. A very simple process, but it actually turned out to look quite well as a hospital setting.